So high-speed rail makes sense from an environmental point of view, because it frees up all of the capacity that we need on the existing line. People say, you know, there is 65% capacity. You've just heard Jerry say it again, on the West Coast Main Line. We can do it just like that. We have just finished spending billions of pounds on the West Coast Main Line. It has had benefit. It has led to the kind of overcrowding that there already is on the West Coast Main Line, because it is a fast, efficient service. And it's packed. And you can't get a seat. In the rush hour, in standard class, people are standing for the full distance regularly of the journey between Coventry and London. If people think that there's 65% additional capacity on the West Coast Main Line when the Department of Transport doesn't agree with that, it doesn't recognise those figures at all. But if we provide an additional rail capacity, then that will free up the capacity on the West Coast Main Line for many, many other uses which have been suppressed. I know over the years, Coventry City Council, Centro, other organisations have tried to suggest spurs, local links, local services, improvements to cross-country services, and they have been told repeatedly that they cannot do that because of the pressure of the express service, and the express service must come first, and those additional services that might be highly desirable can't be fitted onto the line because there isn't room on the line. Yes, of course, you'll be able to find some small increases in pressure, in capacity, but basically you are dealing with a Victorian railway system. And as with anything, you can squeeze more out of a new development. You know, no matter what it is, you can get it to go better. You can get it to go more efficiently, you can get it to go faster for a period of time. But the law of diminishing returns kicks in, and once you stretch the system to a particular level, and you get very little back in return. And we are at that point with the railway system, and we really do need to invest. Does the line make sense? I'm not talking about the particular alignment. I'm not a railway expert. I can't tell you that the line ought to go here rather than there or whatever have you. But just take a look at our country, the shape of our country, where the wealth is created in our country, and you will be able to see we are a long, thin country with economic centres the full length of the country, from Glasgow and Edinburgh in the north to London and the southeast in the south, and it makes eminent sense to put a transport spine straight up the country in order to connect those economic centres together. Eminent sense to do so. Now, I would not have got involved in this issue. This was a Labour government proposal. We, because we believed in integrated transport, because we wanted to see more people using public transport, because we knew we would never get them out of their cars unless we joined up all the bits, we put this proposal together. Let's put a railway line in close proximity to as many of the local conurbations and the local airports as we can, particularly Heathrow, because we proposed a third runway at Heathrow as well. Let's connect up the bits, and then you stand a half a chance of getting people to use rail instead of using road. But there's a new government now. It's not my job to bail them out, and it's enormously more difficult for them than it is for us. Almost every constituency that this line is going to go through is a Tory constituency. Why on earth should I help them out? But I ask you to think just on that for just a second. Why on earth are they doing it? Are they stupid? Why are they taking the political pain? Why are they picking up a proposal that we made and proposing to do it themselves if it's so stupid, if it doesn't make any sense, and they've got all this political pain on top of it as well? Well, they're not that stupid. They know jolly well that this is the ideal kind of infrastructure proposal that this country should have been investing in for many, many years now. The French built their high-speed train system 30-odd years ago. I travelled on the bullet train in Japan in 1983, and it wasn't new then, and Japan's not a lot bigger than us in terms of its geographical length. But I got involved only when people started to suggest, and I thought it was bad for Coventry when they suggested it, that this system would be bad for Coventry. Don't use my city as cannon fodder in your fight against the government. I don't blame people for fighting a proposal which impinges upon their lives, on their homes. Who on earth can have anything other than sympathy for it? But this line isn't going to be bad for Coventry, and I am pretty fed up with people trying to suggest that my city ought to go around with a chip on its shoulder, because that's the last thing that it wants. We are blessed as a city, and we fail to take advantage of the blessings that we have. We are the city at the heart of England. We are central. Never mind, Meriden. Meriden's a village. Coventry is the heart of England. We have good rail connections. We have good road connections. We ought to be doing a lot better than we are. And we ought to get that into our minds that we ought to be doing a lot better than we are. And this is not going to do us any harm at all. And I, for the life of me, can't understand why the representatives of business are not supporting this. I have never heard of business representative organisations opposing additional capacity for our travel system. I think it's utterly amazing. We are going to wind up, as a city, being only 8 miles to the west of the first major station out of London, on a line that eventually is going to link up the great cities of the north and have onward routes into Scotland and down to Heathrow and into the capital, and you're going to be able to get across and onto High Speed 1 through Crossrail dead easy, and so you're going to be able to do the near continent as well. And as those petrol prices go up and the aviation fuel prices go up, we already know how much. The cheap fares on aeroplanes are not what they were a few years ago. S. O'Leary continues to try to make money out of his very successful, cheap, airline, but it's not going to be sustainable over a period of time. Travel to the near continent and travel through the spine of the country is going to be forced onto relatively carbon-friendly, low-carbon methods of travel. We will benefit as a city from being in close proximity to that station, only 8 miles away. We will be able to put in the links that will enable us to get there. There'll be shuttle buses that we'll be able to get there by train and cross-link across the NEC. And the business, we ought to be telling people who are thinking about starting a business in the Coventry area, we are going to be on the new high-speed rail line route. Come and open your business and come and provide some jobs in Coventry, because it's the place to be. We hadn't ought to be going around with a chip on our shoulder. Those of you who are opposed to it, those of you who are affected by it, I have a great deal of sympathy for you. Fight the government by all means. I don't know why you're here having a go at me. I haven't got any say. I'm a backbench Labour Member of Parliament in the opposition. The Tory-led coalition will take this decision and not me. Fight it by all means, but don't try to pray in aid damage to my city, because there will not be damage to my city from this proposal. Coventry will do very well out of it, thank you very much. It will improve our transport links and our opportunities to get more commerce, more jobs, and therefore maintain the standard of living that the people of Coventry actually want. Thank you.